it's not gonna be a super long um, video. I just want to go over how to set up this one new indicator. All right, I don't think I'm gonna enter. Okay, so um, if you're using um, TradingView, um, the indicators, there's two indicators. One is the cumulative volume delta candles. The other one is a bit more complicated. You have to add the basic TradingView on balance volume, like their own personal one. And then you also have to add the divergence indicator, which is it's a divergence indicator, any oscillator, and if you it's a little bit tricky to find, but it's made by EA Trader 2, and you can add this to any RSI, any MACD, any indicator you want. You can add to it. So essentially, you would add the on balance volume, and you can run like 3 or 4 of these if you're so inclined on each of your indicators. So then you add in the divergence indicator. My OBV is super basic. I don't have any attachments, any moving averages, nothing. It's just as basic as it gets. So then you would go to the settings. I like circles because I don't want to clog up my chart, and I like my alerts at the bottom, and I don't like a bunch of color and stuff. I'm currently not including the hidden divergences because it's not as easy to follow. But essentially, all this stuff is super customizable. For the OBV, you have to plot it on the chart, and then here where it says indicator, so you can add this to any indicator you want, right? It's an indicator on an indicator. So then you go to on balance volume, and you hit OK, and it shows up. And so here, for example, this is Woo, and it's showing bullish divergence right at the bottom. It's not, it's not always going to be accurate, but like you can see, it's pretty accurate. It always went down a little. The thing to be really careful with is sometimes it prints this signal, and then the especially on the lower time frame, because then the candle closes differently. If you go to settings, you can delay the plot until the candle is closed, and that way you don't fall for it. I don't choose that because I've got the timing of the chart right here of the candle, so I always kind of know where we're at if I'm looking at a specific time frame. But you can see the higher the time frame, I think the better. You can see right here, like it called the bullish divergence, the bearish divergence. This one didn't really work out. This one worked out pretty well. This would have gotten you out way too early. And you can see it works. It caught up here too pretty good on Woo. The CVD candles are a little bit tougher. So if you look at something like IOTEX, for example, this is the Binance chart, and this is the Bing chart. And you can see how big of a difference just in these there are, because Bing doesn't derive price off of its own price action. It's driving price off of percentage of each exchange. And so really, really sensitive. Both the OBV and this cumulative volume delta, you really, really want to have Binance charts. So the cumulative volume, I have it set up so, up or buying is white, selling is black, and then these are divergences. So it automatically colors the candle in whatever color you want for the divergences. So I don't have the total volumes. I have my bodies colored for the divergences, and pretty much everything else is standard except for obviously the colors. So what I'm looking for here is, for example, you can see at the top right here, you've got this divergence, and it's bullish divergence, which basically means that people are continuing to buy, but the price isn't going up. And so what this is telling me is that buyers are just buying into a sell wall. And I'm still I'm not sold on that one yet, because it's not quite as accurate as the one that I use. But it's a really cool way, especially on a higher time frame, to kind of look and see what's happening. Like, what this is telling you is the delta, as in for that candle, are most people buying or selling? And essentially here you can see that there's a lot of selling, but the price isn't going down, right? And you get this really long wick. That's telling you that there's a lot of resting buy orders, people that missed this move up and were just waiting for that pullback to re-long again, because this was clearly now a support. So it's not an indicator in the sense that it's going to give you entries and exits, but it's a really cool way to be able to understand what's going on in the market and whether or not the buying and selling is aggressive or passive. So here, this is aggressive selling into passive buying, which means that once it moves up, you're going to get a squeeze up, because all of these shorts that entered right here were caught out. And when you look at something like this, it's easy to, in hindsight, say that, right? But let's see if we can. Let me see if I can get this to play. Oh, it's gonna get stuck. So sometimes when I'm trying to record and streaming, everything moves super slow and it freaks out. But essentially, if you were to replay these charts, that moment in time would be a lot less obvious. And so let's keep doing that now. Yeah, I'm gonna have to restart that. But anyway, that's how it works. And they're both really interesting. The CVD is more something you watch to try to get an understanding of why a price is moving, who is moving it, are you having orders that are just sitting getting filled, where is the aggression coming from? And essentially, if the aggression is going with the movement, you want to hop on. If the aggression is going against the movement and not making much headway, you want to look for that reversal. Are there any questions in terms of like the two indicators, or really anything else? Probably going to, I guess I should check the chat. Okay. No, there's no questions in the chat. We'll now have to restart my trading view on here, because this is just going to keep kind of running. But if you have any questions when you set them up, just tag me. I really like that OBV indicator. Has been working really well the last 2 days. But just watch it. looks like everything's about to break down. You can see over here, like the shorts, these are limit orders that are just loading up. You can see like a lot of people are kind of throwing their sell orders at the next available ask. So unless buyers kind of step in, currently you've got buyers hitting the buy now market button. You've got sellers reloading those asks, so price isn't really moving. So I expect stuff to start kind of pulling back here, and unless buyers kind of step in, we're still in this kind of really not fun area where we haven't quite broken down enough from this trend line in this area, and so we could still easily reclaim it. We're still above the last month's POC. We're still above VWAP. We're still above value area low. Shorts definitely getting more aggressive, but they're just not making enough. They're not making enough headway. So I think at some point this is going to bounce and flush out those shorts, and then maybe we get a drop, unless buyers really just give out. So yeah, that's where we're at. Last call. Any questions? All right. Well, let me know how those indicators are working, or if you have any questions.